This is the Shotgun City Sheriff, the law himself, Clayton Clark.
This is the young Titan, Aaron Atlas.
This is your favorite drunken pro wrestler, a.k.a. the Bud Light Brawler, Dalton Davis.
This is Danger Josh Crane.
Hey, this is Matt Brannigan.
This is Sage Phillips, the Catch Wrestling Casanova.
This is Steve Wilson, the man behind former Impact Wrestling and current independent wrestling star, The Monster, Congo Kong.
This is Jake Something. And this is the jaw-jacking, back-cracking, God created all men equal, and then he made me the sequel, Rohit Raju, and you are listening to the Spot Show Podcast.
Spot Show Podcast.
Spot Show Podcast.
The Spot Show Podcast.
Spot Show Podcast. Hell yeah.
The Spot Show Podcast.
The Spot Show Podcast? Yeah, that's right, I stuttered. Shut up.
Madrox, listen, I'm nervous. I don't get nervous when we do podcasts anymore usually, but I'm nervous for this one.
Why are you nervous?
We'll get to it in a second. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Show Podcast, professional wrestling podcast, not about professional wrestling. I, of course, am one of your hosts, the Dr. Seuss of the commentary booth, Dickie Wabash, joined, as always, by the one-man boy band, Michael Madrox.
I need a new gimmick.
Here's why I'm nervous. I agree, you do need a new gimmick. Speaking of gimmicks, this guy, I've known him to go through like 7 since I've known him. So I think you finally settled on a good gimmick. Just shoot it, brother. Just be yourself, you know?
Yeah, right. So, for those that don't know, my name is Stephen Mitchell.
Mitchell, let's hear it for him.
Round of applause.
Also known as Zane Arkham. Started out as Section 8. That was the worst worst gimmick ever. It was given to me because I was medically discharged from the military, and I was wearing combat boots and camo pants for my first game. We're like, oh, Section 8, that works.
Stolen valor. Stolen valor over here. Let's hear it for the owner of Elite, or one of the owners of Elite Pro Wrestling. Got to give credit where it's due to all the others. Mr. Stephen Mitchell is here, and man, I am so sorry that we approached you at this point 7 months ago and said, hey, start booking us for commentary, because look at just the mess that we have created for you now with all this stuff that we got going on.
Mess. You're not. That's an understatement. No, I'm joking. No, actually, you've helped me out. Like, you were the next level for EPW. We needed commentary.
We're not even 5 minutes in. He's already jerking us off. Let's go.
Hey, you guys did. I mean, it was hard these past few years because before any show goes out, I have to sit and watch it and agree to it. And it's like crickets. There's nothing. It's just watching video. And it's like, okay, the fans are interactive, but I need something to compel you to keep watching, like that backstory. And then you guys came to me about wanting to do commentary. I was like, let's do it. It's on. I don't care. Let's do it. And because of you, we have an amazing setup.
Yeah. And what was so great about it is that I think that, Madrox was the one that made the call. Like, he literally saw your post within a second of it being posted. And he was like, hey, man, do you need commentary? Because we were going to go back into commentary, a story that you get to hear on Paid Show. But we ended up settling with you guys, and that's what launched this whole thing. So we're stoked, man.
Yeah, it was great when Madrox reached out to me. I was like, man, I really want to. I'd always thought of doing 2-man commentary, but I had one guy that I desperately wanted to bring back into the business. He was out due to a back injury. He was never going to be able to work as a wrestler, but he wanted to do commentary for me. And I made a promise to him, and I'm a man of my word, that I would bring him in when we got commentary. And I was like, hey, you guys think you could do a 3-man booth? And you're like, yeah, we could do it.
And now we love. At first, I'll be honest with you, we're like, damn, we just want to do it on our own. We just want to be the brothers and do it on our own. But then we met Colby, and we're like, let's go.
Colby's the brother.
Colby's the brother. But hey, listen, before we get too far into this, I just want to remind everyone that this episode is brought to you by Elite Pro Wrestling, Sewer Layer Toys, and BurntBuds.com. But you're going to hear a little bit more about them later. That is, of course, unless you sign up for the Patreon at the $5 and above tier, where you will get this show completely ad-free. Also, over on the Patreon at the $5 and above tier, you are going to get access to Paid Show that I just mentioned a minute ago. And brothers, that's where the cuffs are off. That's where we can talk about whatever we want, whenever we want, however we want. But that's not all. If you back us at the $10 tier, you get access to Big Stupid Popcorn. Episode 1 of that, Ready to Rumble, is up right now, and that's a fun one. That's a really good one. I love Ready to Rumble. That was the movie that we were like, absolutely, we gotta do it. Also up on the Patreon, we have behind the scenes photos of us at Elite, at Hybrid, just hanging out, going to, I went to a New Era wrestling show with Dalton Davis, got to film him backstage. All that stuff's up there. So shout out, head over to the Patreon, patreon.com/MadBash Studios. But listen, I understand money can be tight sometimes. If you don't have the money to kick our way, we completely understand that. You can support us completely free by just giving us a 5-star review, giving us a share ski with a friend. We appreciate any support that we can get. Listen, I just started doing this whole spiel because we've only just started launching the Patreon, so I know it's like a little bit off-putting, but it's like, we got to pay the bills, brother.
No. My question is, are you reading a script or is that off your head?
That's all off the top of my head, man. No call sheets. No call sheets.
That's what we try to focus on.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing. I mean, to get kind of behind the curtain a little bit here, I told you when we first started, I said, I don't want to know winners. I don't want to know losers. I don't want to know spots that you have planned. I just want to be a brother out there watching wrestling, and I want to be reacting. But I mean, you, a part of the production meeting, we end up hearing that stuff, but we still like to have a little bit of that wonder to it. We hate having call sheets.
You want a little behind the scenes facts?
Sure, shoot.
This last EPW show when LLE came out, this idiot actually thought the power went out.
Well, yeah, I was like, because
to his point, I mean, it was pretty rough that day. I mean, there was a tornado literally like 15 miles from us.
Not even.
Yeah.
It was close. But how about the fact even before that, there was a tornado that touched down like a mile from us when we were inside painting the ring.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that was the week before.
Sunday before, yes.
Yeah, man. That was a rough one. That was a rough. I think we talked about it on the Podski where I didn't have power for like 6 days.
Yeah.
And,
a lot of people were out.
It was a rough one. I mean, granted, it's like the time we're recording this, it wasn't that long ago, but by the time you're hearing this, it's like a month out or 2 months out or whatever. But yeah, man. But you know what? I think that's a testament to the will that not only you have, but a lot of these other companies, like, because the show must go on. Mm-hmm. And like, I think to give you credit, not to assume, but you were probably looking at it and you were like, man, these people just went through this rough time with this storm. We still got to put on a wrestling show to give them that escape from reality.
That's exactly. I remember the day of driving to the venue. I mean, everything was set up because the city was nice enough to let it sit in the building the whole week. But I was like, man, people were like, hey, are we going to cancel? The weather's been bad. People don't have power. I said, no, we have to give these people an escape. And that's what everybody needs. When you're going through a stressful situation, whatever it may be, sometimes the best medicine is walk away, go do something, take your mind off of it, come back, reevaluate.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted to do at EPW. I mean, in my time, 6 years now with the company, of course, we only had to cancel like 1 or 2 shows, and it was out of our hands. One show I was going, and my fuel pump decided to just blow up in the gas station, and I was leaking fuel everywhere. The other time was the whole pipe system underneath the building, the septic, everything just fell out from underneath the building.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. That's exactly what you want.
Yeah. So
that's why it says card subject to change.
Exactly. You never know. But, you know, we have been blessed that we've only had to cancel couple, 1, 2, maybe 3 shows in 6+ years.
Yeah. And since we've been back, I mean, you and I, being me, you and Madrox, or me and Madrox rather, there have been times where we thought we were going to have to cancel because of what the brother went through, or because of even with the power and stuff. But we were like, no, man, we have a job to do. We know that, you know, like you said, give these people this escape from reality for a little bit. Show must go on. Go do what we can to give them a good couple of hours. And I think that that's a testament, really, to a lot of, because some places would have just been like, oh, a tornado just touched down. Nope, we're going to cancel the show. But yeah, I don't know how many, I mean, any given day, there's probably a handful of shows, or any given Saturday, rather, there's probably a handful of shows that run within probably like 100-mile radius. So I'm curious to see how many of them probably decided, you know, and not to bury them in any way. I'm just saying, it's just that would, it'd probably be the smart thing to do, to be like, hey.
It's like, we're not that stupid. And we might turn, I mean, because, you know, you can never predict the weather. I mean, a tornado could be going one way and then go 90 and head straight for you. So you never know. But yeah, so to each their own. I mean, if you've got to cancel for whatever reason, you've got to cancel.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the one thing that I wanted to do with this company since day one is not only give back to the boys and girls behind, but the fans in the area, because in that area, there's not a lot of things to do. I mean, school
Amish
sports
town.
and stuff like that. But I mean, there's not a lot of things you can do for a family friendly environment. And I was like, we got to give him something.
Yeah, that was like when he first told me, he's like, hey, we're going to be running shows in Odin. Or we're going to be, I was like, Odin? Like Amish country? Like, okay, the Odin meat locker is cool, but like, what else is there to do in Odin? And then we get there and I'm like, okay, but see, that's the thing too, that I think really helps a lot of these companies is, you're really gambling by picking a market like that because it's either going to blow up in your face or it's going to be like, oh my God, there's something to do this Saturday. Let's go. We finally got something to do. So kudos for choosing Odin. I mean, I think that's a really bold choice.
Well, some backstory. I didn't choose Odin.
Who did?
So that goes back to how the company was formed.
Yeah, let's go there. Let's just segue into that. Let's talk about the origins of EPW.
All right. Well, that comes about 7 years ago. I was working for another company. Won't name anybody. I was really in a bad spot. Like, I was super negative, hated the business, and it was just because that was the environment that company produces.
Oh, yeah.
It was a super negative environment.
I've been there, done that.
A few times.
Yeah, probably for the same company.
So it was 2017, December of that year. I was like, I'm done. I'm walking away. I'm hanging up the boots. I'm done booking for this company. I'm done working wrestling. I'm out. So I walked away. Well, at that time, one of the original EPW owners and that company had a contract in Odin to do shows for that company. Well, that company decided we're not going to do it because they had some problems, and won't go into it because then it'll give away the company I'm talking about.
Tri-state issues.
Yeah. But so the owner of the company was like, no, I'm not doing these contracted events anymore. Well, that other guy's out the money. So he came up to me and another man named Blaine Black, and was like, hey, I really want to start this company. You want to join? Well, here's the kicker. Me and Blaine talked about this a couple years back. Was he told me Blaine was already on, and he wasn't. And I was like, yeah, Blaine's on, I'm going. Well, he told Blaine the same thing. I was already on when I wasn't.
You got carnied.
Yeah.
You got carnied.
You got brothered.
Yeah. So we started there. Well, then when that owner left within our first year because he wanted all the money to go into his pocket and not back into the business or the boys, which that's not how I run my business, I had to start dealing with the town. I found out the town of Odin are amazing people. They give us the building for a discount. We can have it whenever we want. It's just a really great company. So I was like, yeah, I got to keep them. They take care of me. I got to take care of them.
Yeah, and that just goes to show you like the foresight of people that are in power, for lack of a better term, in towns like that because they see the benefit of it. So it's like it's that scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. You're bringing entertainment to this town that people don't really have. So we're going to discount you. We're going to brother you a good deal. So yeah, you love to see that stuff.
Yeah, and I can't say enough good things about it. Of course, with it being a city hall that I'm dealing with, they've changed over the years. They've got new board of directors, new things like that. But even then, like I just go talk to them and they're like, yep, we're good. You're good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You take care of us. We take care of you. And the town of Odin is really growing. Like there's a lot of, I have to set at these town hall meetings, and there's a lot of cool things coming into that area that I'm like, all right, if I'm in here now, when that stuff gets here, I got my first foot in the door. I can meet a new business opportunity, things like that. So it's a long run business strategy that it's like, hey, it might pay off, may not, like you said before.
Yeah. So then basically from my understanding here is that you kind of, because I was always under the assumption that, hang on, we got Dalton Davis calling right now. Let's put him on speaker. Brother, you're live on the Spot Show podcast.
Oh, well, sorry to botch you guys' stuff. Hola.
Hi.
I didn't know you guys were in the middle of something. That's not bad. I just was calling for a question. That's all.
Yeah, I'll get with you when we're done.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, sir.
All right, later. Leave it to Dalton Davis to botch a podcast interview. You
Didn't even sound like him on the phone. Jesus.
I hope that picked up on the mic. So anyway, so to get back to your story about the founding of EPW, because I'm a stickler for trying to stay on point. I just gave Madrox a look that I am not. So you weren't. So my understanding was always that, and I may be completely not getting what you're saying here because I'm an idiot. But so you weren't one of the original owners.
No, I was.
Oh, you were.
I was. Okay, so there was 3 original owners.
Yeah.
Myself, Blaine Black, James Monroe. It was designed. James was the mastermind, con man / whatever you want to say. He found the ring, which, if you know my ring, was not in the best shape when I got it. And he was like, hey, I've got a ring. I'm in contract. He's the one that was in contract with the other company. He's like, hey, I'm contracted for 7 or 8 more dates with this event. I've already lost my money if I don't do it. So we're like, yeah, let's do it. Literally the day of our first show, March 3rd, 2018, he was driving down from Milwaukee with the ring. He pulled up and we set up for our first show. But yeah, I was one.
And this was in Odin.
In Odin.
Okay.
Can we just talk about this ring for a minute? This is the most awkwardly designed ring I've ever
Andre
seen.
bumped in that ring.
I'm
you
just
watch
saying.
It is a over 40-year-old ring. It's Burn Gone style, I think is what it was called. Terry Hopper knows a lot more about it than I did.
We got to get Terry on this podcast.
Yes, you do.
We have got to get him.
He is a wealth of knowledge. But the guy brought it down. He showed us all the paperwork for, like you said, Andre bumped in the ring.
Yeah.
There's a lot of historical figures that has been in this ring. But it is in my 14 plus years in this business, it is the the biggest, weirdest, and hardest to put together ring ever.
That was my first, and let me time out before I continue on this. It's become an inside joke with love, mind you, that we always go, doesn't matter where we're talking about, we always go, hey, Andre bumped in that ring. And it's become an inside joke. But anyway, that was the first thing that I noticed when we got there to the first Odin show, was I was like, that's the weirdest fucking ring I've ever seen in my entire life. And then you see it like actually being taken apart and you're like, there's a giant spring in the middle of that. It's in force. Like, it's the weirdest ring. It's so weird.
And you're right. I mean, it is very weird. A lot of people, when they walk in, like guys, new book talent, they'll walk in and be like, holy crap. That's the tallest ring I've been in. My ring's
very tall.
Yeah. Normal rings are about 3 foot tall. Mine's 4'5".
Wow.
Yeah. So it's tall. And everyone's like, damn.
That's why no one likes battle royals at EPW.
That's why I've not had a battle royal, but I did have a group of guys from Kentucky come up and work a match for me, and they literally spine busted someone over the top rope onto the floor.
Oh.
And everyone was like, what the hell?
Please tell me they got a bump in Paysky that night.
Oh, yeah, they did. And what was bad, though, is here's the thing, is it was 4 dudes. I love them to death from WWA. They came in and worked the show for me. First match. They were throwing each other over the top, doing these crazy stunts, diving through the ropes. I'm like, at that point in time, no one had done any of that in my ring because it is so high. That's why we don't have battle royales, because I'm like, nobody's going to bump.
Yeah.
No one's going to bump off. No.
Yeah, we literally had Dalton was over last night, and he was showing us some of his old Odin matches, and there's a spot where he does it. I'm like, it's so weird to see someone dive from the EPW ring because it's just so high up.
It is. It's very.
I've not been in that ring yet. I've not set foot in it.
It took us a while to get to it. When we first got it, the only padding that came with the wood was the Gold's Gym puzzle pieces, and only enough for the center. There wasn't enough to cover the whole ring.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Worst bumping ring. Well, then James gets his bright idea that he's going to reach out to somebody in Jasper, Indiana, I think, that does foam. So he gets us some. Not enough. It's a foot short. My ring is... And here's another weird factor. My ring's not an 18-foot. It's not a 20-foot. It's a 19.4-foot ring.
It's just so awkward. It's just such an awkward ring, but in a good way.
It is. It is. And we have, Terry says this himself, we have a Las Vegas-style wrestling ring with all the work we've put into it. It is. It's a show-quality ring that you would see on a WWE show or any televised show.
It's one of the most beautiful rings ever.
Yeah, and it benefits... In my opinion, you talk about how high up it is, it almost benefits a big arena because it's so high up, you're able to look from great distances and be like, oh, hey, there's wrestling.
Like we always say, the wrestling ring is your stage. This is a legitimate stage. I mean, the fans have to look up and see you. You are the eye catch in the building. It's like, you're up there, they're down here.
Yeah.
Not saying they're below you or anything like that, but I'm just saying you're up there. It's a stage. It's like
You're in the spotlight.
You're in the spotlight, and
Yeah.
there is not a spotlight too. But like when you go to a movie theater or anything like that, it's on a stage. It's up, right?
Yep.
That's exactly what the EPW ring is when you're setting on ground level, you are looking up to everybody in that ring. It's a focus spot.
Yeah. So then to then, because you said something that really stuck with me, because I think every single person in this room has been in this situation. I can speak for Madrox. I know I have felt that, and you literally said you felt it too. So you were done. You were ready to just be like, fuck this business. I've loved it. It's not loved me. I'm out. So then what changed? Was it just running these EPW shows, or was it just like, oh, you know what? Maybe I can find a good way to have fun with this.
Well, honestly, it took me a while to get back to it. Like I was done, and I'd saved up a little bit of money. I was planning on starting my own thing eventually. We always do. Everyone's like, yeah, I want to start my own company. But I was like, I'm going to do it right. I'm not going to rent a ring or anything. I'm going to own my own ring. And then the idea was presented to me to buy the ring, and we bought it. We started running it. Behind the scenes, it was a headache because not talent or anything like that. It was the other owners I had to deal with.
Too many hands in the pot.
Oh, no. It wasn't too many hands in the pot. Like I did the business. When I first started, it was just me. I was the advertising guy. I did all the things like that. Blaine Black booked everything. James Monroe just brought the ring. And he did the kitchen too. We had some amazing food back then. But it was Blaine had a way he wanted to run it. And he was booking all these guys and blowing our budget left and right. James was just, I'm there to get money, make money. But we weren't making money, because the one thing that I said, and we still say to this date, is I guarantee you pay. I guarantee we're going to take care of you. If no fans show up, you're still going to walk away with guaranteed pay.
And on this podcast, we've actually put you over for that.
And I mean, that was when I started, I was like, I don't care. We were paying for the ring because James had a snake's tongue. He could fucking get you. He'd call on anybody, anything. But we were originally supposed to pay $2,000 up front for the ring, and then pay off the last $1,000. James got up there with $300. Conned the guy into letting us make monthly payments, and the guy was like, yeah, cool, it's whatever. Trusted guys he'd never met before. The guy drove down from Milwaukee to help set up the first time, too. It took us 6 hours to set this ring up.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was rough.
And now it's broken down in like what? 20, 30, 2 hours?
It takes, to set up the show, it takes 2 hours. Teardown.
It's always set up by the time we get there.
It's
so
about an hour teardown. But the thing that I've learned is I've got a great group of wrestlers, ring crew, I should call them. Some of them are wrestlers, some of them are security guards. They know how to do it. We know how it goes. And then more hands that touch it and get involved, it takes longer. I can tear it down with 4 guys in an hour and be good. That's when people are like, oh, well, I want to help. And we get 20 or 30 guys on it, and then it goes to 3 hours.
And that's honestly, like, I sit back and I'm like, man, because we tear down our commentary and all that, again, like, this is information. We're getting into some really like
deep stuff.
We're getting into some nerdy deep stuff that like only hardcore like people are really going to enjoy.
This is our Deep Cuts album.
This is, yeah. But, we tear down commentary and then we're done, and we always like to hang out as long as we can. And I'm standing there watching and I'm like, man, I feel like I should be helping with that ring. And then I look at it and I go, but man, they got a system. And I feel like if I get involved, it's just going to fuck their system up, and I'm going to be in the way. And plus, I mean, brush
your
off
new
my
ring
shoulder.
crew guy is pretty decent.
I've paid my dues.
Oh, yeah, the young guy. I was like, who are we talking about?
Logan.
Logan, the soon-to-be referee, Logan.
Yeah, we're talking about that on here, how we want to start him off as a ref. We're going to teach that boy everything. We really were. Last night, and I know we've brought him up a lot on this podcast already, but it's just how it is. Dalton Davis was over, and they were running in international drills in my backyard.
Lucha International.
They were running Lucha International drills in my backyard. It was hilarious. But yeah, man. And I know we talk a lot about Logan, but it's like he's just got that passion.
He does. And I mean, we've all three of us, well, Dickie not as long as me and Madrox, but we've all been in this business for a while now. And when you see somebody, like, I'll even do a quick shout out here, Draco. Kid's got passion.
Yep.
When I saw him first come to an Odin show and I was like, all right, this kid's got it. And that's the same with Logan. It's like he starts helping and everything. I'm like, holy cow, this kid's got the drive.
Absolutely,
and,
man.
Yeah. And that's why, like, I don't know if anybody on MadBash, I'm sure they have seen the photo of him signing his release.
Yeah,
form.
we posted it.
Yep.
Yeah, he was very proud of that.
Now officially able to do whatever he wants in my wrestling ring because he signed his waiver and he's ready to roll. And I'm looking forward to getting to work with him and trying to train him to be a ref because we're always looking for refs.
Not even just the ref stuff. Like, I want this kid to learn everything. I want to teach him how to call time. I want him to know the backstage aspect, the production accents, the fucking commentary.
Segue there from you, Mr. Knowing Production. When I first got into the business, it was all wrestling. I didn't care about the backstage. Now that I'm an owner and I'm backstage and dude, I love that so much more.
As do I.
Some people are like, "Hey, Steven, you going to get back in the ring?" I've tried that. I've tried working as a wrestler and my backstage role, and it's too much to handle because I lose stuff out in the ring, and then I forget stuff behind the scenes. I'm not saying I can't focus on multiple things because I'm focusing on call times, everything, production, lights, sound, where everybody's at, who's up next. I can focus on multiple stuff, but it's like when I get spread too thin, I'm not showing enough to where I need to be. But the production stuff in the back, I have so much fun editing the shows, figuring out what we need to do for interviews, who we need to have, what pictures and stuff we need. That's so much fun.
Yeah, and that's how I kind of cut my teeth too, is that shout out to Jason V because he taught me how to edit. And he was teaching me little things about that too. And there's going to be some stuff that's a little, but some responsibilities that you've asked for us to do at EPW, that's the stuff that I almost enjoy more than, and don't get me wrong, I love my job. I love going out and calling the show. But it's just that little stuff. Like we tell the story, you told us, what ideas are you going to bring to the table? Now, am I lying? Because I've told this story, but now we have you can prove that I'm not lying.
No, 100%.
I brought a full notebook page of ideas.
You did.
Yeah.
And you're right, man. It's like, as an owner, or even for you guys, if you were to bring someone else in, you have to say, what am I getting out of this? What are you bringing to me? Because everybody has something to offer, but is it something I need? That's my thing when it comes to booking. When I was brought in, with the company I started in, they just booked everybody that threw their name in the hat that you wrestled.
If you didn't have experience.
Yeah. I don't want that. Like, I have tons of people that shoot me messages. Hey, I want to come in. Okay, what's your gimmick? What can I use you for? Because I don't want to bring in somebody and make them be something they're not. I want them to be their character. If I don't need your character, I'll put you on the back burner and say, hey, I don't need you right now. But when I do, I know he's there. He or she's there.
Yeah, and I'm sure that as an owner, and the booker and all this other stuff, you probably, because, hey, spoiler alert to everyone who doesn't want to know, wrestling is full of fucking egos. And I'm sure, I've been in these meetings with you where you've been like, I got all these guys that want to come in, but I'm sorry, I just don't have anything for them right now because, you've got, I don't know if I want to put this out there, whatever, but you've got a Facebook page full of 80 plus guys that you can call on and be like, hey, who's ready? And then even coming up, you have a show coming up that you were like, hey, I have a spot to fill. Who wants to fill this? Just the boom, boom, boom. And then you even made the point to be like, listen, guys, no hard feelings if I don't use you. It's just that we're so booked up right now. So that's kind of a good problem to have.
It is. And when Blaine left, because Blaine's one that used to have all the contacts, I was worried. I was like, oh man, what am I going to do? I don't know anybody. I don't know Joe Smo from Indianapolis or whatever. He had those. But then after he left, I realized I knew a lot more people than I thought, and I could reach out to him. And then if you look at our website, we've got a 45 plus, I think, member active roster.
Yeah.
You don't use 45 people on every show.
No, not unless you're that company that you keep hinting at.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I'm not, because the one thing we want to do is we want to make sure everybody leaves happy. They get their money.
Yeah.
And, we don't kill ourselves, or we make money.
Yeah, yeah.
It also sounds like you guys are trying to do this weird thing called character and story development.
Yes.
So let's get into, you want to talk about characters. Let's talk about, and I know that we talk about our guys a lot. Get over it. We love our brothers. We put them over. What was your first thought so this is our first time showing up in Odin, right? And you hear from Madrox, hey, we're bringing a guy with us. And then this stumpy, face collector walks in and you see the character work of this guy, you had to be blown away, right?
Dude, I was. Okay, so a little more insight. We don't just let anybody come in. They have to do tryout match. So that way I can see, what you have and what I can use or will not use. He comes in, he does a tryout match. We have wrestlers around the ring watching him. And I mean, like, even the referee, which was Terry Hopper, he was blown away too because he got into character. A lot of these tryout matches, I literally had one guy, he showed up, he's like, hey, this is a tryout match, right? And he showed up in dress pants and
you
Converse.
even told that story that day.
And I'm like, this guy didn't care. He's like, do I have to be in gear? It's just a tryout match. Dude, this is how you get seen by other companies. Because when I was doing these tryout matches, I had representation from Hybrid there, representation from Envision there. So that way, if they liked you, you're right there. You could get a job at 3 companies, start working for 3 companies with one tryout with me. But Jared, and I'll say his name, I don't care, little stumpy guy, he came in, he blew us away. Like, his character development, and it's like, he is the face collector. He's not just some guy in a spooky mask going out there to try to beat up people, because that's what a lot of guys are, is they want to look like a badass in wrestling, and it's not about looking like a badass.
Yeah. And, I just use him as the example, but I mean, literally the first episode of this podcast was talking about character work. And, we put over Jared because of his character work. And then we have to mention him at least once because we do it every time. Clayton's character work, him and Poke, their character work. And those are just 3 examples.
Okay, so here's a little thing too. Clayton Clark. I'll say his name again. Clayton Clark. I remember him before he came to EPW. Before he worked IWAU, he was working for another company called Tri-State Wrestling, and he was a cocky little kid, and I wanted to punch his face in at TSW. Then at EPW, he came around with Bo Sawyer, and I was like, I'm going to give this kid another try. And he had matured so much and put in so much work. I was like, I straight told him after his match and how he did and how he was in the locker room, I stopped him. Because for those of you that don't know, I have no problem telling you straight how it is, good, bad, whatever. And I was like, dude, you have completely changed my mind about you. I love you to death now. You are a great, humble kid. You finally got lost the ego. I was like, and you were doing amazing work out in that ring. Keep it up.
I love Clayton. He was the first one, I think, when we walked in that Odin building for the first time that came and shook our hand. And he was like, man, I'm been so excited to meet you guys. And that, but him, Poke, Jared, you mentioned Draco. I'm gonna forget people, so I mean,
you're right.
Kendall,
Khalil. Even though he's an asshole, he is character work, dude. I have said this, and I will say this a million more times. EPW has hands down the best locker room when it comes to character work. Humble people that are hungry and want to help each other grow. We have Matt Maverick now. We've got Sam Knight works for us. We've got Xander Kelly. We got Chase Stevens. We got Brian Pillman. We got all these other guys that are coming in to help these younger guys, and none of them are acting like they're better than anybody. They work together to create magic.
Yeah, I don't think that we've encountered one person in that locker room where we've had that feeling.
No.
Now, when we first started out, that was different. We had another guy, I'm not going to name names, but he legitimately thought he was more than what he was. An accident happened in the ring. I walked to the back. He's a big dude, taller than the dude he was facing. Just he's bigger than me. In this dude's face, yelling at him, I walked straight up to him. I said, no, shut the fuck up, sit down, and talk this out like
I think I've heard this
I was
story
like,
before.
we are not, in this business, we're all adults. There is no reason why an accident in the ring can cause you to go back and yell at someone's face. I don't care what it is. You go back, you talk it out, because guess what? It might have been an accident. Maybe they did stiff you because you stiffed them. You talk it out. There's no reason why you should be screaming at anybody and cussing them out and threatening them.
Well, we've had a great talk about our present, but I want to get into a little bit of the past right after we hear a word from our sponsors. This episode of the Spot Show podcast is powered by Sewer Layer Toys, located at 3197 South 3rd Place in Terre Haute, Indiana. Guys, let me tell you one thing about Sewer Layer Toys, right? You're going to walk in, you're going to see a bunch of stuff that you want to buy, and you're going to be thinking to yourself, man, do I really want to buy this? Do I really need this stuff? Well, yeah, you do. You're going to walk in there, you're going to see a plethora, an endless amount of vintage toys, of retro toys, of modern toys, of that toy that maybe you had as a kid and you vaguely remember it, you're going to see it there. Very fairly priced. Listen, I go in there and I love it. I get most of my collectibles there. Same goes for Madrox. We love these guys. Go in there, tell them the Spot Show podcast sent you, just so that I can prove to Scott that people are actually listening to us and that we are actually worth tying our name to them. I'm joking, of course. Listen, Scott and Andrew are two great guys. They run a really, really good store located in Terre Haute. Again, if you go to 3197 South 3rd Place, that is behind the mall in Terre Haute, Indiana, go in there to Sewer Layer Toys. You are going to find some really, really good stuff. This episode of the Spot Show podcast is also brought to you by Elite Pro Wrestling. Here's the thing about Elite Pro Wrestling, right? You have them to thank for the Spot Show podcast in many different ways. Elite Pro Wrestling gave MadBash Studios our first opportunity when we decided to come back into the wrestling business. So Elite Pro Wrestling is one of the OG backers. We love Elite Pro Wrestling so much. They are putting on incredible shows every single month. You should absolutely be there, whether it be in Odin, Indiana, Washington, Indiana. We would love to see you in the crowd there at Elite Pro Wrestling for every single thing that you need to know about EPW. Head on over to EliteProfessionalWrestling.com. There you are going to find dates, events, links, everything that you need to know about EPW. Thank you so much for being a day one sponsor, EPW. We very much appreciate it. This episode of the Spot Show podcast is also brought to you by BurntBuds.com. You can check out Burnt Buds for all your cannabis-inspired clothing, jewelry, and accessories, and guess what? You can know that you're doing good. Burnt Buds has non-binary sizing up to 4XL, and here's the best part of all, 1% of all Burnt Buds profit goes to charities such as the Last Prisoner Project and the Trevor Project. Cannabis not your thing? Well, I got good news for you. Burnt Buds also has a variety of humor, Rasta, and LGBTQ plus themed clothing and jewelry. But I'm going to sweeten the deal here a little bit for you. If you go on over to burntbuds.com and use our promo code SPOTSHOW10, you are going to get 10% off your entire purchase. Again, that is Spot Show, the number 10, for 10% off your purchase at burntbuds.com. That is BurntBudz.com. You can also check them out on Facebook at Burnt Buds. Check them out on Instagram at Burnt_Buds. Again, go to burntbuds.com, promo code SPOTSHOW10 for 10% off your entire purchase. So we've heard a lot about Steven Mitchell, the owner of a wrestling company, the booker of a wrestling company, the man that gives me an envelope one Saturday a month. But I want to go back a little bit here, and I want to talk about Section 8. I want to talk about those days. And I know that there was a little bit of time before me, obviously, but I got a few stories, and I know Madrox has got a few stories, because I didn't realize you were a part of a lot of my early matches. I managed the Juggernauts against you and your tag team partner a lot.
Yeah.
Too much.
That was, to say the least. I didn't even realize until you guys had shared that your first
first time in a wrestling ring.
I was facing the OG Juggernauts with my tag team partner in, what was that, CWF?
That was CWF. That was July 14th, 2012. Never forget it.
I was like, crap. I was like, holy crap, he was there. For those, also a little backstory about me is I have lost memory so much because of one, concussions, and then brain cancer. So I have, like, until I see it, I'm like, oh, yeah, that did happen. But it'll be gone forever. But yeah, he shared that. I ended up watching, like, looking for all the parts of that show just to watch it. I was like, oh, classic.
Dude, it's so sad because a lot of my best work is like gone. Certain companies have just decided to unlist the videos, and it makes us so mad because I want like Dickie Wabash back when he was Aaron Thomas ring announcing at his hometown of West Terre Haute, but which you were on those shows.
A sold out show nonetheless.
Sold out show, and I don't have any of that footage.
With Rudy Charles in attendance.
Rudy was there. Yeah. So that's 2 TNA referees I've worked shows with.
It's so crazy to think of all that stuff. Like West T selling out. It's like, man, I used to work with so many different companies that are just gone now.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well, we talked about it whenever New Wave shut down. Like, that hit us in a weird way because that was the final bastion of our childhood of growing up in Terre Haute watching wrestling, because CCW, and then you had CWF, and then from CWF came New Wave, and then now it was gone. So
speaking of that was a shock to my system as well.
I think it was for everyone.
When it was like, yep, we're done. I'm like, oh. Now, I mean, I'd heard, we all hear rumors behind the scenes and things like that it was heading that way. But you never think, I remember when New Wave Pro first started, I have never wrestled for New Wave Pro, but I knew the owner. I knew everything. I knew that I was like, man, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. This is, what I hoped to when I was wanting to be, before I started EPW, wanted to start a company. I was like, I want something like that. That's what I want. They're doing a great job. And then it's like gone now. It's like, oh, snap.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't want that.
Yeah, maybe I don't. So then I know that we were starting another topic, but let's get off on this topic. Be honest, did that scare you a little bit when that happened? Did it make you realize that, these wrestling companies are mortal and they can go away?
No, because I'll peel back the curtain. I've wondered, because I have a lot of personal stuff that I have to deal with, taking care of the people that I have to take care of. I didn't know if I was going to be able to financially or physically be able to keep up with EPW. And it's like, where does it go next? Like, who does it go to when I leave? Because I'm not a jerk. I'm not going to be like, nah, man, I'm done. And the company's shutting down, because there's too many wheels behind the operation. This is just not me. It's not just one person. I mean, I've got a board of directors. I've got 2 other owners, and the owners have changed over years. Like, I've had 7 different owners. I'm the only OG. So it's like, when they shut down, it's like, okay, that's scary, but I've already thought, maybe I'm not going to be doing this forever. Maybe I'll walk away too. But at this point in time, nah, it's full steam ahead for me. We're going to keep doing whatever we can. We run 1 show a month every month. There was brought up at the board meeting last show to run more. At one point in time, we were running 2 shows a month, but that was back before we were guaranteeing a better payday. We were only guaranteeing $10 and getting taken care of concessions. Now we guarantee more than that, so we can't afford that. Because the one thing we also don't want to do is, our ticket prices have been the same for 6 years. We don't want to raise our prices. Everything else in the world raises, we don't. So.
You and Arizona T, never going to change.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's right. Speaking of Arizona T, I had some yesterday.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So then let's go back now, because back to the original topic at hand here. But you gave me, very early in my career, some very good advice that you probably don't even remember.
Probably not.
I'm backstage at a show. I got my button-up shirt on, putting my tie on. I tie it, and the back of the tie is hanging a little bit too low. I'm like, fuck. So I untie it, tie it again, same thing. Section 8 walks by. Just tuck it in your shirt.
Yeah, because I won't lie. I mean, I was horrible at ties. That's why I ended up buying a clip-on. But, yeah, I mean, you just hide it.
Yeah, just tuck. I mean, you're wearing a button-up shirt for a reason.
Exactly.
So since we're going down memory lane here, I've told my perspective.
Hold on, before we get into this.
Oh, yeah.
You remember the first time you met me?
Oh, that's even better because this can segue into what I was going to bring up.
No, vaguely, I just remember you coming in, and I was like, damn, that's a tall son of a bitch.
We walked through the doors with fucking Bo Sawyer. It was me, Richard, and Josh Still, because he brought us down to work a match with him.
Yeah.
And you got this training class of all these like weird outcast people. And you look at me and your face drops. I don't know if because you were like flabbergasted by my sexiness or what. But he looks at me and he goes, "You can do a snap suplex, right?" And I go, "Yeah." And he's like, "Get in here for a minute." He gives me a snap suplex in front of these trainees. And he goes, "You did that graceful. Made me look good. We're working together next show, kid."
And then little did you know that you guys would end up working each other till the cows came home. Because I feel like there was a lot of tag matches between you guys.
Not even just tag matches, like
singles.
Singles, everything. I have the most fun working this guy. We had some of the goofiest spots ever because I'm a lot shorter than he is. We do an atomic drop, and of course, he just stands up, and I'm right there. I'd walk under the clothesline. I mean, we had so many great matches together.
Yeah. So then, speaking of great matches together, we've heard my point of view of it. We've heard Madrox's point of view of it. Let's talk about the Washington Riot, because you were in that match.
Yeah, I was. I just remember laying on the floor, looking up.
So time out before you, let me, for people that may not remember, this is when Madrox and I started a riot. The story starts, I was doing the invisible microphone gimmick to the fans. I didn't realize that it was a benefit show, which considering where we were working, should have been obvious. But if you know, you know. And it was a benefit show for Special Olympics. I did not know this. They should have told us this. I called the fan stupid for talking into my hand, thinking I'm holding a microphone. Then Madrox proceeds to get on the microphone and just run them down, yada, yada. So then now we go for
this is in the match. Okay, so Juggernauts have already beaten the hell out of me and my tag team partner. We're laid out on the floor. And then they start talking, and I just start, I'm looking down at the ground. I'm like, I start hearing fans really getting angry. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So I roll over and I look up, and I mean, you guys have started a riot. I mean, they were so pissed off. Like, I hear verbal threats against your lives. I'm like, guys, get to the fucking back.
See, I was already in the back.
I was like, Madrox, get out of here. Go back. I'm like, they're going to kill you. Like, I don't care if they're Special Olympics or not. They are going to kill you. I mean, it was just, I'm trying not to laugh. And I'm worried for everybody's safety, but I'm like, get to the back. Stop fucking harassing them. It was just nuts.
I love the fact that the security the company hired ran away.
Well, a gun was pulled out.
Well, nonetheless, Top Flight Kyle stood there by my side.
Yeah. See, this is the part I haven't even told. Before all hell broke loose, I missed it by just a skosh because I walked to the back and then I hear the rumble and I'm like, I don't think I should go back out there. And then I didn't, but man. But we were talking before we were recording. That's not the only riot you've been involved in a few riots, I'm sure.
Yes. Another interesting one was with my buddy Zach Hogan. Had a great rivalry with him back in the day. For about a year we were going at it, and we were at a festival in Petersburg, Indiana. We shut down the road. We put the ring in the middle of two cross sections, and we had to escort Zach out because me and him more him because of what he did to me. I ended up getting handcuffed. He beat the shit out of me when I was in handcuffs. Pissed off the people in Petersburg. One guy brought his chow to the event and let his dog go after Zach. But the cops ended up that handcuffed me. Was like, man, does he need a ride out of here? We can get him out of town. We're like, yeah, it'd probably be the best. But
that was the show we used the church as the locker room.
Yes, right across the street. Used the church.
Oh, you were there for that?
Yes,
okay,
I was.
Cool. Yeah. That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
There's just such again, it's like the history between you guys is really understated, I feel like, because there's a lot of history there, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
there really is.
Brother from the other mother, a little bit taller mother, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Just outside of wrestling, too. We used to be coworkers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? I did
that was some of the best time working for, they got sued?
Yeah, I got $5 from it.
So did I.
Oh, hell yeah. Class action, brother. Let's go. Class action lawsuits once makes the world go round.
And speaking of them, I was flyering for our first Washington show. Went into a tattoo parlor. Guy from Duke Energy was in there. He goes, I know you. You worked for that flagging company, didn't you? I'm like, yeah. I was like, they were around. He goes, oh, hell no. We ran them out of state.
That's awesome. But yeah, man, those, again, we don't say company names, but going to that company and you were always guaranteed to be there. And it was always going to be a good time. But the whole riot thing, that was the first time I had to throw a work punch because Madrox had you on the outside holding your arms back. Punch him, Dickie. And I just stand there and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I just put my left hand on top of your head and just punched my left hand. I didn't know what to do. I mean, at this point, I was just months into the business. I wasn't even.
A few shows later, he's carrying out a lightsaber from Goodwill, beating people with it.
Yeah. Do you remember Bucky?
Yes, the
Do
squirrel.
you remember it?
Yeah, the
The squirrel.
Yes, the stupid little thing. You always had. Yes, I remember.
Yeah,
Bucky.
Bo Sawyer found it at a Goodwill, and then we put a fake toy grenade in it. And it's one of my favorite Josh Steele moments. It was Bo Sawyer was teaming up with Toxic, who at the time was using Joe Sawyer, versus Josh and Riot, Craig Riot Copeland. And we were so Chikara strong at the time, and we were just marking out for Chuck Taylor and the invisible grenade. So they're like facing off, and then Toxic reaches pulls out I got a grenade, and then throws it, and we all like flinch like it. And then this is my favorite Josh Steele moment. We're all just, I think I dove on the grenade actually, and we're just sitting there, and then Josh goes, just deadpan Josh Steele, black hole of charisma, love the guy, goes, did it go off? And then I just start laughing because that's one of the few times I've broken. The other time is with Travis. We told the Travis me breaking story, but I'm usually pretty good. You have to have a couple break character stories, right? Where you just can't help it but laugh.
Anytime you worked me.
Yeah, no shit.
No, one of my favorite things that I did was I legitimately, I had a plant in the audience, and he was recording the match for me, and him and his friends were just talking shit to me, and I got tired of it. So I broke character, and I go, what was it? It was something, I can't remember, but the ending I went, but I fucked your sister, and just started dying laughing. His friends were like, oh, shit.
But did you really?
No, I dated his sister, but I'm the only person in town that didn't fuck her.
And then did you get a talking to by Stephen Mitchell after that show because you're not allowed to say fuck?
No, and speaking of another time that I said fuck, and I wasn't allowed to,
Dickie, I didn't say fuck.
In my own company, you can only say hell, damn, and ass.
Yeah.
I was doing this in-ring segment with the guy that I'd mentioned earlier that yelled at somebody, and he was just pissing me off. Like, the fans could tell he was pissing me off, and I go, you know what? Go to the fucking back because I'm done with you. I'm sick of your face. Shut your damn mouth. Everyone's like, oh! So I was like, I can say fuck because I'm the owner, and I got out the fucking ring.
So you 2000s fucking WCW
Look at this Vince Russo motherfucker
get back
over
in
here.
The fucking ring. Yes. Dude, we just did New Blood Rising, and that was a rough show to get through. But anyway, so Madrox has a question that he loves to ask every guest that we have. So I'm going to let you take the floor on this one.
All right, Mr. Steven, what's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you in a ring?
That's hard to say, but it definitely have to be, I just got my first set of tights, and I blew out the crotch in a match. I shit you not.
Please tell me you had gimmicks on under.
Yeah.
Okay,
I always have underwear on, but back then it's like, I think I was in my underwear stage, not boxers, not briefs. I was like, you know what? I don't care if I'm wearing underwear. No one sees it. I don't care what I have underneath my straight underwear in that sumbitch. I think they might even been tidy whities.
I was going to ask.
And I don't remember what it was. I think, Slippery Spot. It was an outside show. Ring they had vinyl cover. Sweat, everything. I just,
just straight splits.
Straight splits. Crotch blew out, and I was like, whoops, got to go to the back.
Yeah. Sean Rife, the referee, was notorious for ripping his pants. Like, he would rip his pants all the time. Like, so much so that he would travel to shows with like 3 pairs of dress pants because he would just rip. I had my jeans rip on me one time in Georgetown.
I remember just getting in the ring one time for a segment. I was in street clothes, and sure enough, blew down my leg. The whole leg ripped.
It's always the crotch.
The inseam just ripped.
See,
I was like,
you're built a lot like me. We're just stumpy guys, short, stumpy guys. So we have short legs, so it's always the crotch.
Yep.
It's always the
Best
crotch.
ref rip pants ever goes to Jeff the Ref.
Oh, I don't know if I know this one.
The CWF Tag Team Tournament night.
Yeah.
First match out there. It's me and Hero versus Tank and the Don.
Oh.
This motherfucker slides in for the 3 count, rips his pants. We get to the back. He's the only referee that showed up for this whole show, so he's got to go out there for 8 matches. Looks at me and goes, brother, you got a pair of dress pants in that gimmick bag over there? I forgot to wear underwear.
I love him. I love Jeff the Ref. He's so great. But so we're gonna probably we got a few more minutes here, and then we're gonna start wrapping up. But there's one thing that we've talked about a little bit on here, but I want to get your thoughts on it because you're the one that kind of facilitated it. Let's take it back to Jared Savage a little bit here, and let's talk about fucking Long Live Evil and the opportunity that filming a music video in your wrestling ring. How great did that feel?
It was awesome. And you have to, like I said, we have to thank Jared for that, because Jared messaged me. He's like, hey, I got an idea I want to present to you. I'm like, all right, I'm always open for an idea. Door's always open. Whatever you got, shoot me. I got a group that wants to shoot a music video, and I no clue who Long Live Evil was. And he sent me some links, and I looked down. I'm like, man, I'm down. Let's do it. Are you sure? I'm like, yeah, man. When are they thinking? More towards October, fit the theme, And he's like, well, let me see when he wants to do it. And they're like, no, we want to do it as soon as possible. I'm like, all right, well, the hell with it. Let's do it. I mean, we have a building. We might as well do it. And it was just a huge opportunity. It was a huge headache. Trust me. Trying to plan all those and getting them enough time to record, but at the same time, not let too many fans in before the show that would have to get kicked back out. So the people that didn't want to be a part of the video come in. It was a lot of moving, juggling parts, but huge. And here's the deal. They paid us absolutely nothing to come in and do that. I did not charge them a dime to use my stuff. I said, no, it's a great opportunity. I looked at it as that because when this video comes out, whatever platform it's on, it's going to be on the internet forever. That's our ring. That's free advertisement. That's what I took from that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you follow Jared on social media, but he's done multiple interviews since that show. And the one thing behind every interview he's done is, oh my God, we love EPW and that ring is phenomenal.
Yeah, they had a blast.
Cool everyone was there.
They had a blast.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy because we had so many people. We ended up cutting our backstage a little bit so we could have more fans in the building. And then we have all of them back there too. And I'm like, man, there's no room in this building for all of us. But yeah, they were all like, dude, this is so great. They're all huge wrestling fans. I've talked to a lot of them about it. And they're like, we want to help you. I also reached out to them about possibly, you guys remember the old Raw entrance with the live band and the cut footage?
Yep.
Them doing something like that for us.
Oh, is that an exclusive?
That is an exclusive.
Oh, an exclusive for Spot Show. You love to see it. But see, you talk about the headache and the blah, 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 blah. You knew going into it, it was going to be a fucking headache. There's going to be a lot of moving parts to this. It's going to be annoying. But as a business owner, you say, you know what? That's just the cost of doing business.
It is.
You got to do it.
You got to do it. And because, you're just, nothing in life worth having is not worth going out and working to get it. You shouldn't be handed everything. Everything that is good for you, you've worked for. And that was, like you said, it was a hassle, but it was good for everybody involved. They got to shoot the first ever wrestling video they've ever done. I'm not even sure if there's ever been an in-the-ring segment like that, music video ever in the past. They got to do that. What?
There has.
Okay, so that's something they checked off their bucket list, though.
Yes.
But it's unique regardless. It might have happened, but it's still
unique for them, and it's unique for us because it was a huge opportunity for the company, everybody involved, all our boys and girls in the back.
You had people flying up from Colorado just to come to this show.
Yes.
How's that make you feel as a
when
business
a bunch
owner?
of the Zooligans came into the building, the fans, they were talking about hotel rooms and how long they were going to be in town, and
it's like, this is Amish country.
Yeah, and what's even better is they want to come to more shows.
Yes.
Because of what we did. Not with just only that music video, but what the boys and girls, and I always say it's the boys and girls because the only thing I'm doing is controlling moving pieces. They're the ones that are putting your lives on the line, going out there, busting their ass, telling the stories, doing the character work, drawing those fans in.
Yeah, and I've always said that. I said, literally, I just sit behind a fucking microphone and talk over wrestling with my buddy. Like, what we do is really, but it's like, it's them putting their, and I talked about it on Now You Know. I mentioned it, which, by the way, there's more of those coming. I'm just very busy. But I even talked about it. It's like, you got to, respect these men and women for going out there and doing all that stuff. But anyway, not to get too maudlin over it or anything, but yeah, man, like, but at the same time too, that must make you feel really good as the guy that is in charge, or one of the guys in charge, rather. I keep saying that you're the guy, but not to discredit any of the other owners. They put in just as much as you do, but he's sitting right in front of me. Sue me. Don't sue me.
You wouldn't get much.
Yeah. But no, it was like that must make you feel really good to be like, man, this company that I've put my blood, sweat, and tears into, these guys came here, did this. And then, I mean, to be honest, the boost that it's probably coming from it probably feels good. Yeah. But knowing you the way I know you, the boost that is going to, like, the eyes that you're going to get on you, yeah, that's cool. But deep down, that's probably taking second fiddle to just the experience of it.
Yeah.
And like how cool that was.
It was an extremely cool experience. And, the one thing that I've always wanted to do with this company is something different. It's not all about me. It's not all about the fans. It's about everybody involved, the people in the back having a good time. Because we've all been into several different locker rooms. And, your atmosphere needs to be a positive one. Because otherwise, it's like, why do I keep going to this place? So, and that includes the fans, too. If they come in and the atmosphere is toxic, they don't want that. But creating those awesome moments, that's what's awesome.
Yeah, it's like when we came back, we were like, this locker room's fucking incredible. Yep. It's just a fun locker room. You got fucking Jay Silva sitting over here doing impersonations of Hulk Hogan. You got Clayton Clark going, here's my favorite video of Vince McMahon. You got Maverick walking around doing his thing. It's just excuse me, just a fun party environment locker room.
And then they take what's in the locker room, and they present it to the fans. They get in gear. I mean, I've had young, old, middle, everybody when they leave. I'm not saying all the time, but I've had a lot of people say, that was amazing. Just coming away, you forget all the pains and struggles of real life. You get invested in this business. You get invested in what you're seeing. You're entertained. You're enjoying the legitimate wrestling and the entertainment side. We're both. It's not just one or the other. You're both. Go ahead.
I can honestly say, since being back from January, I've never been to an EPW show and seen one match where the fans are completely dead and quiet.
Unless it's a Tyler 6 match.
Yep.
I say that as a joke because, man, Tyler 6 versus Jared Savage was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
RVD versus John Cena.
Yes, because of the Zooligans. And I even talked to Tyler afterwards, and I'm like, that's the best match you've ever wrestled. Granted, you lost, but what do we talk about? The character, the story, all of that. And that's even what we told you, is that we, as part of MadBash, we're marks for that. We love the stories. We love
Makes your job easier when you're sitting there doing commentary.
Yes.
You see this. You're invested just as much as the fans are.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you got a match where Colby Jack and I are just talking about the Rocky movies. But, it is what it is. And I think that
adds a different flavor, though, because,
it does.
It's don't get me wrong about the wrestling commentators on the TV now, but it's like, it's strictly wrestling. That's all they're talking about. Change it up a little bit. Don't talk about someone's mother or anything, but
I hate when the commentators are just going through a damn call sheet, just spitting off facts when there's a match going on in front of them that they're completely missing out on because they got to get in. Oh, this guy ate spaghetti 2 nights ago in Germany.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is that I got to give you credit because we work for 2 companies. We work for you and we work for Hybrid. That is what has been kudos to both of you for just telling us, yeah, just go do whatever. You're good at what you do. You know how to do it. Just go do it.
And something that I've learned is you can't micromanage everything.
No.
There's no reason. And if you're good at what you do, like you guys, and there's no reason I need to micromanage you guys. There's no reason why anybody should micromanage anybody. Like, I don't have to manage Khalil or Kendall. They're good at what they do. I tell them, hey, this is what I want. Well, we want to do this. Cool, that's better. Go do it.
Yeah. Did you know that last Odin show, I almost passed out during a match. Did I tell you about this?
I think you did, but
I had a sugar crash because
yes,
I hadn't
I remember.
eaten,
And you went over, and the girls
I had
at
to
the
run
kitchen
over, and Brittany in concessions, I looked at her and I just grabbed a Baby Ruth off the table and said, "I'm going to eat this. Get me a hot dog." And I just shoved the Baby Ruth in my mouth.
Yep.
And then the music rib that I pulled on Maverick, I said, "I got to hurry up and get back to commentary." And then, man, that was good. Which that's another thing too. That is, how many other locker rooms are we going to start a civil war over the rock band Weezer? You're just not going to.
No,
and like
no.
Maverick's pushing it forward, Madrox is, I am. Like we've literally divided your locker room.
It's all over social media too. Like it's crazy how much. Oh, what the hell with Weezer? Oh, we love Weezer. I'm like, oh my god, this is really a thing. All right, here we go.
And it all started with me just coming out to Back to the Shack, but. Hey, man, listen, this has been an incredible talk. Thank you so much for coming by the MadBash Studios. We're going to hear more from you on Paid Show. We're going to have you stick around. For those of you that back us at the $5 and above tier, you're going to be able to hear Paid Show. The conversation is going to continue. Steven, we're going to give the floor to you. Plug some upcoming dates for us, brother.
All right, man. Our next big show is September 2nd. It's our suicide awareness event. We've got Brian Pillman on the show. We've got Chase Stevens. We've got Kendall Fire versus Khalil Akbar in an unsanctioned match.
Oh, man. That's going to... Are you sure you want to book that? Because that could get a little... that could get rough.
For those of you, if you follow us, it's led to this. They've had matches.
Yeah.
And here's a little insight. It started 1 year ago at this exact same event.
What is it we always talk about, and you may kill me for the fact that I'm saying this, long-term storytelling.
Yeah, it's not about the quick done, go, boom. No,
Yeah.
it's long-term.
Yeah.
Then after that, we've got our All Hallows Eve event in October in Odin. Then we're back in Washington for Eclipse, November 4th. That's going to end out the year for us. We take December off for the holidays.
Yeah, so where can the people go to see all this stuff and get
we
more
are on YouTube, and we are now on Rumble, which, honestly, from a content creator, I'm liking Rumble better. It's a lot easier to work with.
hearing that from a lot of
I mean, it's so easy for uploads, everything. I mean, it is really great. And I mean, they also have easy way to track monetization and stuff like that. And it's not so hard to deal with like copyright. Anytime we load anything up on YouTube, it's immediately copyrighted because music. But no, social media, all social media. Well, Facebook, Twitter. I think we have an Instagram page. I'm not 100%. Alan does
the
that.
co-owner of the company. I think that we have.
Dude,
we're the same way with MadBash.
We're the same way.
It's like, I don't know. Yeah, let's see. But yeah, you can. Website www.eliteprofessionalwrestling.com.
There you go.
You can get all the information there. You can watch videos.
That's
you can
the one-stop shop.
One stop. Actually, we do have an online store, but I don't know what's in that. I need to finish that up. That's on the burner.
All right. I'm at Attaboy Dickie on Instagram, Madrox at Madrox_BSB. Thank you guys so much for listening. Again, patreon.com/MadBash Studios. You'll be able to hear Paid Show with Mr. Steven Mitchell. That's going to be a fun conversation. Since we're behind a paywall, cuffs are off. So you know that it's always a good time over there. So, Steven, thanks for joining us for Spot Show. And this was a hell of a talk.
Thank you for having me, man.